The divorce papers had barely dried when she found the old notebook hidden inside a moving box. Between faded grocery lists and forgotten receipts was a single photograph of a smiling stranger she had met only once years earlier. She stared at it as tears blurred her vision, wondering why the face of someone she had almost forgotten suddenly felt more familiar than the man she had spent 8 years calling her husband. She never imagined that one ordinary afternoon would lead her back to the person destiny had quietly placed in her path all along. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to our channel so our community can continue sharing stories that remind us that the greatest love stories are often written after life's hardest lessons. Margaret Lawson had always believed that life should be planned the same way she managed financial statements. Every decision required logic. Every risk needed careful calculation. Every future demanded stability before emotion. As one of the city's most respected accountants, she spent her days helping families and businesses prepare for uncertainty. Friends admired her discipline, but many quietly wondered if she ever allowed herself to dream. When she met Graham Sutton, everything about him represented security. He owned a successful insurance agency, treated people respectfully, and lived a calm, predictable life. There were no dramatic arguments, no reckless decisions, and no impossible promises. Their relationship felt comfortable rather than exciting. When Graham proposed, Margaret accepted because she believed love would naturally grow with time. Their wedding took place beneath bright spring sunshine surrounded by smiling relatives. Everyone described them as the perfect couple. For a while, they truly believed they were. They bought a comfortable home, built successful careers, and supported each other's ambitions. From the outside, their marriage appeared peaceful. Yet something quietly remained missing. Neither of them felt deeply unhappy. Neither felt deeply fulfilled. They became wonderful partners but never truly became soulmates. Years passed with kindness replacing passion. Conversations centered around bills, schedules, investments, and weekend errands rather than dreams, fears, or laughter. One sunny afternoon while organizing old paperwork together, Graham looked across the dining table and gently admitted something neither had dared to say aloud. They had built a beautiful partnership. But they had never built the love both secretly hoped would eventually arrive. Instead of arguing, both quietly cried. There was no betrayal. No affair. No deception. Only two good people acknowledging an uncomfortable truth. Over the following months they attended counseling, hoping to rediscover the connection they had searched for throughout their marriage. The counselor helped them recognize something painful but freeing. Love cannot always be created through patience alone. Sometimes respect survives where romance never truly begins. After many heartfelt conversations, Margaret and Graham made the heartbreaking decision to separate peacefully. Their divorce became final on a warm autumn afternoon. Before leaving the family home for the last time, Graham hugged Margaret warmly and thanked her for every year they had shared. He wished her genuine happiness. She wished exactly the same for him. There was sadness. But there was also gratitude. Neither regretted the years they had spent helping each other grow. Several months later, while unpacking forgotten boxes in her new apartment, Margaret discovered an old notebook from nearly a decade earlier. Inside rested a photograph taken during a community volunteer fundraiser. Standing beside her was a cheerful landscape architect named Everett Collins. She barely remembered the event. Yet seeing his smile unexpectedly stirred memories she thought had disappeared. Years earlier, before meeting Graham, Margaret had volunteered one sunny Saturday planting trees in a neighborhood park. She had been assigned beside Everett. Unlike most people she knew, Everett measured success differently. He spoke passionately about creating beautiful public spaces where children laughed, elderly neighbors walked together, and families created memories beneath growing trees. Margaret remembered quietly dismissing his outlook as unrealistic. She wanted financial security. He valued meaningful experiences. Their lives moved in different directions after that afternoon. Looking at the photograph now, she realized something surprising. She remembered every conversation they had shared. She remembered how easily they had laughed. She remembered feeling unusually understood. Curious, she searched online and discovered Everett now directed a non-profit organization restoring neglected parks and community gardens. Without overthinking, Margaret attended one of the organization's daytime fundraising events. She had no expectations. She simply wanted to congratulate him. Everett recognized her immediately. His warm smile looked exactly the same. Instead of awkwardness, their reunion felt strangely effortless. They spent the afternoon touring gardens created by neighborhood volunteers. Margaret confessed she had recently divorced. Everett listened without judgment. He simply admired the honesty required to end a respectful marriage that no longer brought either person lasting joy. Over the following months they met frequently through volunteer projects. Margaret helped organize the nonprofit's finances. Everett showed her communities transformed by compassion, generosity, and ordinary people working together. For the first time in years, Margaret laughed without forcing herself. She discovered joy could exist outside carefully planned schedules. Everett admired her intelligence, discipline, and quiet generosity. Margaret admired his optimism and ability to find hope almost everywhere. Their friendship gradually deepened. Neither rushed. Both understood that lasting relationships deserved patience. One afternoon Everett invited Margaret to help dedicate a newly restored community garden. Children played among colorful flowers while elderly couples rested beneath newly planted trees. Watching families create happy memories, Margaret suddenly realized something extraordinary. Security had always mattered. But genuine connection mattered even more. Months later, Everett asked whether she would join him on a long countryside walk after another volunteer event. As they wandered through fields blooming beneath bright sunshine, he admitted he had remembered her ever since their first meeting years earlier. He never pursued her because he learned she had married and respected her commitment completely. Margaret quietly smiled. Life had not brought them together through shortcuts or broken promises. It had simply waited until both hearts were truly free. Their relationship blossomed naturally. They traveled during weekends, planted gardens together, supported local charities, and encouraged each other to keep growing. Margaret even restructured her accounting business to provide free financial planning workshops for struggling families. She often joked that Everett had taught her the greatest investment wasn't measured in numbers. It was measured in people. One bright spring afternoon, nearly 3 years after reconnecting, Everett proposed during the opening ceremony of the largest community park his organization had ever completed. Instead of expensive decorations, hundreds of volunteers surrounded them. Children released colorful balloons into the daytime sky. Families applauded. Neighbors celebrated. Margaret accepted through joyful tears. Not because she finally found perfection, but because she finally found someone who inspired her to become the fullest version of herself. Several weeks before the wedding, Margaret received an unexpected letter. It came from Graham. He happily shared news that he had also found someone whose dreams naturally matched his own. He thanked Margaret again for ending their marriage with honesty instead of resentment. Because neither had chosen bitterness, both received another chance at happiness. Margaret cried after reading the letter. Not from sadness. From gratitude. Some endings are acts of kindness. Their wedding took place beneath brilliant summer sunshine inside the very community garden where they had spent countless afternoons working together. Guests included former co-workers, volunteers, neighbors, and surprisingly, Graham himself. He smiled sincerely as he congratulated both of them. No jealousy remained. Only mutual respect. Looking across the celebration, Margaret realized every difficult chapter had quietly prepared her for this beautiful moment. Had she never learned the difference between comfort and connection, she might never have recognized authentic love when it finally arrived. Years later, visitors walking through Everett and Margaret's gardens often noticed a small wooden sign placed near the entrance. It carried a simple message chosen together. The strongest roots grow after the hardest seasons. Thousands passed that sign every year. Few understood how deeply those words reflected the couple who planted them. Before we reach the end of this journey, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a meaningful comment telling us whether you believe true happiness comes from choosing comfort, following your heart, or finding the courage to begin again after life changes your plans. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. May this story remind us that love built on honesty never requires betrayal, that respectful endings can create beautiful new beginnings, and that sometimes the greatest second chance arrives only after we find the courage to let go of a life that no longer allows our hearts to truly grow.